Welcome back to Coronation Street. It's Alex Belfield talking to the biggest stars, and we've got the biggest, in my opinion, today.
Ooh.
How are you? Simon Gregson.
I'm very well, thank you very much.
It must be marvellous to be you, because you get to sleep with people like Kim Marsh and Jane Danson. I'm talking about the actors in the show, of course, and you get to get all the killer lines. You get to have fun. You get to own the show. You've got the dog. It's great being you, really, isn't it?
It's not too bad. It cost me a lot of money in bribes, but, money talks round here.
Do you pinch yourself? I mean, we look when you came in the show, I think it was 1989. It's a long time ago, and over that trajectory, they could have written you out, they could have killed you off, they could have sort of put you in the background, brought you back for the odd zinger, but they consistently keep you in the show. And from what I hear from all the other cast over the years, is you're a nice guy to work with, and you're incredibly funny. Are they lying?
Yes. We do have a lot of fun. The long days, it's like, you could do like 12 hours every day, and it can get very monotonous doing the same thing over and over again. So we have, you've got to have a bit of fun. You've got to laugh, otherwise you'll go mad.
Are you given liberty to tweak, let's say, some of the lines, to put your own inflection on it, or to put your own little slant on it? Because it seems to me you couldn't write in a script the way you deliver some of your lines sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the inflections and the way you say the lines are up to you. There are a lot of times when we're asked to pull it back a bit because it is a little bit too carry on Coronation Street. But, the basic thing to do is to push it as much as you can. And then when they rein you in, just rein it in a little bit and see how much you can get away with. But a big thing of ours is because a lot of my mates are in the sound department, and there's always the occasional bet, a bet you can't say this, or a bet you can't do that, and stuff like this. So we get away with more than we should, but people seem to like it, so it works.
I think that's what's great about Coronation Street above the others, EastEnders and Emmerdale and Hollyoaks and anything like that. It seems like they're trying to do something different. When we see people like you, and I love the Norris moments as well, where you come in and you just go, I've had a hard day at work and he's going to make me laugh, and you do. That must be a joy, because there are some actors who are not given that script. You've got to be given license to play with it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for Steve was it started with Saran Jones. I mean, they brought in Saran, and me and Sarah just clicked straight away, and she's mad as a box of frogs, and we had a real ball off set, and we brought that onto the set, and they thought, and I think the writers went, oh, there's something here, and it kind of progressed from there. And then of course it went into like I was saying, how much can we get away with this? Of course, the stuff you don't see is the stuff that could never be aired. But it is a joy to play. And the reaction from the general public is a hell of a lot different. You used to avoid men in white vans because you knew you were going to get abused. Now, it's the thumbs up and, all right, Steve, hey! So it's totally different in and out of work. It's, as soon as you make people laugh, it's a game changer, really.
I wonder about you as a kid who you watched on TV and admired, because there's great comic timing. It seems to be you're a lover of comedy, or is it just an accident?
Lover of comedy. Always enjoyed comedy. Huge fan. Eddie Murphy and all that when I was growing up. And then Billy Connolly and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, making people laugh was kind of what I always wanted to do. Plus, it helps that my mum is completely insane. So I kind of grew up with it, really. She's always singing. She has her own language, my mother. It's mock Italian. Absoluta Montecuda means absolutely, and that's real Italian. He's always tagged on the end of it. So that's what I had to grow up with. So this is what happened.
How does she feel about you watching you on this show? Because there's a lot to be proud of. And you're in it a lot. I mean, there are some people who seem to disappear for weeks on end. I mean, she must be incredibly proud.
Yeah, Mum and Dad very proud. They always think I'm going to get fired the next year, which is totally possible in this game. I remember I won my first award, and my mum said, oh, well, don't let it go to your head. I said, I've been here 15 years. It's not happened yet, So always very concerned about little boy, But no, they are proud. But I mean, it's just normal now. It's 27 years, and I think it's just become part of life for everybody now.
And I don't think because of the level of work you're doing, this isn't showbiz like you turn up on a red carpet and then go home for 3 weeks and get £1 million in the bank. I mean, this is a job fundamentally, and I think that would stop you becoming a star in your own head because you've got to deliver. And I think the only thing that will get you fired is when you can't, because they haven't got time to mess about, have they?
Well, this is it. We're just about to go at 6 eps. There's a lot of stuff to do. We have at the moment 5 eps, which is 1 unit, and we have 4 units out a week, so that's 20 eps we're getting through. And of course, we're not paid like people in LA. We don't all have a nice Winnebago and things like that. And this is Salford. It isn't LA. So I mean, everyone's feet are firmly stuck on the ground here, and it's. I think that's what makes it a great place to work, because all the crew muck in with all the cast and production. We all socialise together, and it is, like you say, it is just a job.
Are you amazed by the affection that the public has for you? I noticed a few weeks ago you came back after a period off and there was lots in the paper. We'll talk about seeing yourself in the paper, which can never become normal. It must be very strange. But the affection that was thrown at you was remarkable. People really cared and they really wanted you back quickly.
Yeah, it was very touching, the reaction of everybody. But the fame side of stuff is something you never get used to, and my mates never get used to it. We're out and we're kind of like, what's he looking at? What's his problem? It's like, oh, you're off the telly. Oh yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, I work on the telly, don't I? Because that's not what we don't kind of work around in this celebrity circle. We go to the pub. That's about it.
And does it help being here in Manchester? Because there is something about, Media City's a little bit up its own bottom, but you've only got to go 2 minutes outside and it's just Manchester. It's just normal people, the people that you're featuring in the show.
Well, this is it. We live in, in South Manchester, but the best place for us to go is up here in North Manchester. We've got to go down to my father-in-law's Legion club, the Royal Legion, and we have a ball in there. Plus, the bitter's cheap, so it's good.
How much is it now? £1.30 a pint?
It's about that, yeah. You get drunk for about £8. It's
a shock when you go to London and they ask for £6, isn't it?
Well, that's just for the ice.
I love these clubs up here. I was born in Nottingham and I was just in Liverpool the other week at one of those Legions. And that community is still there. We forget. What Peter Kay did really wasn't comedy. It was a reality put on a programme.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Some of the stuff we've seen in these places and some of the acts that come on, it's great. Beverly, she's hilarious. And her and her friends used to go off and watch all these acts. There was a girl singing Material Girl, try to be Madonna. Every time she sang Material, she'd rub the curtains. Material. It's like, oh no. And all the others she's told me about. But they're just great. Love the social club. There was a comedian on the other week we went to go and see. He was very blue, but it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant it was.
And you have to go in those places with the spirit to which they were invented, not go in there pompous expecting fine dining cuisine and an arty-farty London atmosphere.
Well, this is it, yeah. It's a pint of bitter, a fag outside and a basket of chips and a comic, it's great.
And then we look at you. Why don't we get to see you doing a live show or something like that? It seems to me you were born to sort of be on stage because you are a big show-off. That's blatantly obvious from the programme. You're a great actor, but there's that instinct in you that you want the attention, isn't there?
Yeah, it is just showing off. And I do love it. I've got a friend of mine who's a stand-up. And we did a little thing together at the Comedy Store, which he'd written. And I played one of the parts, and it went down very well. So we're going to do it again for another friend of ours. He's always said we should write something together and then go off and do all the comedy stores and put all the door money to charity, you see. So we're like, so it's still on the pipeline because, I've always wanted to get on stage and make people. I've always wanted to do a little bit of a stand-up routine. And, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
The comedian you talk about, Eddie Murphy, was a bit out there. kind of outrageous. Would you like to go that far, or are you more sort of Peter Kay knob gags, knock jokes? What would be your thing?
It's kind of observational comedy, really. And, going a bit out there, going a little bit crazy. And, a lot of it is, the humour found in this job, the reaction that people give you. So, a lot of the scripts will be like, this is what it's like to try to be a normal person in a crazy world,
Do you find it amazing, the people you're working with? I mean, I think this is the perfect cast for you. I mean, you've got Beverly at one end, who is such a matriarch of the show, and thank God for people like her. We need more of that. And then you doing the knob gags, and then you get to play off Kim and Jane at the moment. It's a great time for you, because without them, you've got no one to play with, literally.
Yeah, well, yeah, in many senses of the word. Yeah, I mean, me and Kim, can bounce off each other with the comedy. Jane, a brilliant drama actress, absolutely superb. I mean, she's different class, so that's when you're working. That's like serious. I mean, Jane loves to have a bit of fun, but when the light's on, bosh, it's proper acting, and that's that. And then you have the likes of Joe Deteen, who's about on the same level as craziness. So it's like who can make each other laugh during the scene. So yeah, I've got him a few times.
I want to talk to you about your character and becoming him, because I look at Steve McDonald, and he's a good guy you want to meet in the pub. Would he really get Kim Marsh in a real world?
Well,
I mean, he's got charm, don't get me wrong, but do you think you could really pull Kim in the real world?
Well, people have often asked me this question. It's like, I don't come to work and wear a Steve suit. This is how I look. So I'd like to think, yes.
But I mean, I'm a deeply unattractive man, and I'm not putting this on you, but you've got to know where you're punching in life. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I mean, show business will get you more. Obviously, it ticks a few boxes, and then Jane on top of that. I mean, is it likely that you'd get a one-night stand with her? I mean, even she was confused by it. She admitted that earlier.
Well, I think they've possibly just seen him at the swimming baths, and they've gone from there. He's obviously got something that somebody else hasn't got.
I guess it's charm and a wink in the eye, maybe.
I think it's the glint in the eye and the bulge in the pants.
Do you worry about the bulge in your stomach? Because it seems to me when you're stood behind that bar, I notice from time to time it gets bigger and smaller. The stomach not downstairs, you understand. Do you worry about this, or could you care less?
I couldn't give a monkeys a long time ago. But yeah, my stomach is a very strange thing. It does go up and down. I do have actually a stomach problem. So sometimes I get very bloated, depending on what I've eaten, and sometimes I don't. So yeah, the stomach goes up and down depending on what I've done the night before. So it's generally out.
My joke question actually has a serious reality. Now I'm feeling stupid because you could have some terrible illness or something.
Oh no, it's not that bad.
I want to talk to you finally about what it's like to wake up in the morning and find yourself on the front cover of a newspaper or in it. Is it still amazing that people care? Because they really do, and they're interested, if not verging on obsessed. And they want to know, don't they? I remember Ken Dodd saying to me once, I don't get involved in that. When the front door closes, the front door closes. You almost don't have a choice, because 5 times a week you're in our living rooms.
Yeah, this is it. I think it's a lot different for people in soap than it is for anybody else. We've had a lot of people in here that have done films, a lot of people that have done, big, massive West End productions, all this kind of thing. And they live in London and say, London's great, no one ever bothers you. And then they do, 6 months on this, and they're getting bothered everywhere they go. So, yeah, it's a bit of a reality shock for a lot of people. But for us, I think, after you've been here for such a long time, it just becomes part of your life. You never really get used to it. I mean, why would you? It's a very strange thing for a human being to have to put up with, the worst thing, in the old place, we used to have like a one-way window. So we could see out, they couldn't see in. And it was right on when they did the studio tours. So we used to play a game, who could get the furthest down the street without being recognised and back. So we played that. But anyway, the buggers locked the door on me. But I could see the shadow of the people kind of coming up. It's a bit like the Walking Dead now, and this shadow came across the floor, and then it came up the wall, and I turned around, they're all there with the pens and cameras going, "Oh, Steve." It was like a pack of zombies. I was frightened to death. But this is what it's like. I've been grabbed in Sainsbury's on the arm so tight by a woman, and she stared at me for ages and then went, "Oh God, I'm so sorry," and walked off. She was all right. She left me there. I was like, oh my God, what was that? But people think you're like relatives that have come back to life. They recognise you, but they don't know where from.
Right.
So I think she thought I was a dead nephew that had woken up somewhere in the freezer aisle. So she was a little bit freaked out. But you never get used to it. You never get used to the fame. You never get used to the celebrity side of it. Some people like it. It can open many doors. Some of us don't. And I'm in that majority that don't.
And going to an extra episode is even more pressure on you all. Are you looking forward to that? Is that something that they've cleverly managed so actually it won't impact you too much? It just means more writing for them. How do you feel about it?
I think Kate Oates is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to this show. She did a miracle. She did miracles over at Emmerdale, now voted the best, so rightly so. All of them have done brilliantly. And Kate took that to 6 episodes. And the thing for us, although it seems on paper, it's another episode, it's actually going to spread the workload out. So I think a lot of people are going to be, a lot less overworked because we're trying to cram too much into too little. I think with the extra episode, we can spread stuff out. So I think it's a very clever move, and I think it will be good for the show.
And very finally, we look at you privately. You seem happier than ever. You've sort of won the war in a way to have a beautiful woman and kids and all that stuff. For me, would be the ultimate testimony to your success, because having this job is one thing, but going home to nothing must be pretty miserable. Are you in the happiest place you've ever been right now?
I think it's safe to say that I am. Yeah, I am actually. And I was, I had to pinch myself the other day, like you say, beautiful wife, 3 beautiful kids who are hilarious. My middle boy, Harry, if he doesn't be the next Mickey Flanagan, I have absolutely no idea why. He's just so funny. The timing and where he gets the words from, I've no idea. And then, of course, you have everything else on top. And yeah, I was like, wow, life's all right. So, yeah, I am in a very good place at the moment. I'm actually more healthier now I'm in my 40s than I've ever been in my life. There's many reasons for that, which we might not go into.
I guess so. There is a period when you're trying to prove yourself, and it's difficult, isn't it? When you're in your 20s, you're so determined to be taken seriously, and then your 30s, you're busy, distracted, trying to get laid, and then by your 40s, you think, I'm just going to be successful and forget about it.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, look, it's not going to get any better, so you may as well just accept what it is and just get on with it. There's no room for improvement anymore. We're on the crest of the hill now.
We should stop now, really, shouldn't we? I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to retire after this interview. I'm hanging up my boots and I'm gone.
Do you watch yourself? How do you view yourself when you watch Coronation Street, or do you avoid it?
I'm very pessimistic. I mean, when I watch it, you always... The thing is with this job, you can always have done it a little bit better or a little bit differently. There's so many ways to play it. And sometimes you watch, if I could have that chance again, I'd have done it differently. But mainly I watch it for when I've, the lads on the sound department have said, I bet you can't walk through the door and do this, that and the other, and you're like, I can see if it goes out, and it has gone out, and you're really chuffed. So.
How regularly is that, if we look for it? Are we talking on a weekly basis or daily basis?
It used to be a lot more about 5 or 6 years ago. It's kind of petered down a little bit now. We're going to have to revive it, I think.
What was the silliest thing you ever did for a day?
For some reason, I always used to put in the character, I always used to go, So my mate said, I bet you can't get from the Rover's door all the way around the bar in a full hour. And I was and it was really long and it went out. So he's like, yay! And we do all sorts. But there are also, the people who come up to me on the floor managers and say, Corrie in the sound department says, and he's changed one of my lines into something he'll know I'll get in my head, so... Yeah, the buggers.
Deb seems to do that.
Drop the pants as well. Because when you go into a close-up...
they drop their...
They drop their trousers. And, you've got like a very, really serious scene and the camera's on your leading actress. And they're crying and it's all like that. And then they turn the camera on you and your mates are in the background with cakes around their ankles. Or sticking the V's or making other gestures. Yeah. Highly professional people.
It gets you through your day, though, doesn't it?
This is it.
I want you to know how much you're loved and how much people appreciate what you do in the show. I think more than anyone, we need more of your character and more of your personality, because that's what we love. And to be in this predicament right now is brilliant, because you're sort of in between a rock and a hard place in more ways than one, aren't you?
This is what the writers love about Steve. They always want him to be in a difficult situation, and more often than not with a woman. So
squirming.
Yeah, they do like, squirmy Steve.
Can you tell us what's going to happen? I mean, we're right in the middle of finding out more or less at this second. I mean, will he be happy? Will he get away with it?
It's soap. So probably not. Karma will ensue on him very, very quickly, I think.
What a lucky man, though. Punching way above his weight, let's face it.
He's punching well above his weight, as I am in real life, so it's very easy to play.
It's amazing what being a good comedian will get you. Congratulations on everything. Thank you so much for your time.
Mate. Cheers.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much.